Andy Brown is the editor of the Sports Integrity Initiative and has been writing about the governance of sport for more than 15 years. He joins us now live from London via webcam. Andy, thanks so much for speaking to us. Firstly, are you surprised by these reports out today?
I am a little bit surprised as to the scale of the reports. We knew there was an issue with tennis because of the reports coming through from integrity experts like ESSA and Federbet, which indicated that tennis was one of the highest sort of sports where there was a danger of fixing occurring. The information is provided by betting bodies and they flag up suspicious events, and tennis consistently tops those suspicious event alerts.
What do you make of the World Tennis Authority's response that there haven't been any attempts to cover up match fixing in particular as a result of that 2008 report?
Well, the evidence against some of the players is pretty damning, but I do have some sympathy with their position because it's very, very difficult to prove that somebody has thrown a game for reasons connected to betting. For example, in the Davydenko case, he was injured. However, as I said, the evidence does seem pretty damning, and it does appear that something's been going on for a number of years here.
You mentioned that tennis is one of the sports that does have a lot of match fixing. How easy is it to fix a game?
I don't know. I've never tried, and obviously the honest answer. However, it does appear that where you've got a sport like tennis and snooker, where you can bet on, for example, losing a frame or losing a set, without jeopardising the overall result of the match, cricket is another example, then obviously that has a certain integrity risk.
Perhaps it's easier for players and they'll lose less face, I guess, losing a game rather than the match entirely. We've heard from big names today commenting on this story. In fact, the world number one Novak Djokovic has said that he doesn't believe match fixing is a problem these days. But at the same time, he also talked about how he was offered money to lose a match in Russia in 2006. So it appears that this issue hasn't left anyone sort of on the sideline.
No, it does appear that it goes to the very top of the game from the evidence compiled, and I imagine tennis authorities are very worried about the fact that it suggests that a number of players are still playing who were involved in the fixing.
You've been writing about these kinds of issues for a long time. How prevalent are they?
It really depends on the sport and the circumstances. With things like, as I was saying, with things like cricket, tennis, and snooker, the rise of internet gambling has obviously presented more of a danger to the integrity of those sports, because you could bet on whether somebody missed a black, for example, in snooker, or served a double fault in tennis. And obviously, to fix such an event like that is a lot easier than trying to fix the result of an Australian rules football game or a soccer game, for example.
Do you think there's a solution to get on top of this, to eliminate it in the future?
I think sport does face a problem. I mean, we saw this with the IAAF situation, in that where sport is also in charge of protecting the players, but is also in charge of protecting the image of sport and prosecuting the players for breaches of the rules. You kind of have a conflict of interest. And tennis is actually in that position. It's in charge of protecting the players, but it also has the Tennis Integrity Unit, which is in charge of prosecuting players for breaches of its rules. Now, the argument has been with the IAAF thing that all of this needs to be taken out of the hands of the IAAF and given to an independent authority. And these allegations will only add sort of credence to that argument.
What do you make of the countries that these articles are saying have been involved? Russia, Northern Italy and Sicily. Are we seeing people from those countries involved across many sports, not just tennis?
Yeah. In Italy, we've seen a lot of match-fixing investigations, especially in soccer, going back a number of years. Also in Russia, there's been rumours that soccer is fixed and that certain games are fixed. However, it's a lot harder to prove due to the political situation of the country. People are less willing to talk out about it. As we saw in the IAAF situation with systemic doping, the two whistleblowers there were put under significant personal risk for doing what they did. It's a lot harder for people to speak out in that situation. So yeah, there is some history going back that countries such as Italy and Russia are involved in this sort of thing. However, that's not to say that other countries aren't involved as well. I mean, we just don't know.
Andy, finally, do you think we as spectators just need to accept that match fixing is part of any sport now?
I don't need to accept it, and I don't think we should accept it. I think the pressure to change all of this comes from the consumer, i.e., the spectator. As we've seen with FIFA as well, if sponsors and spectators stop going, stop paying money towards the game, then they'll be forced to change. Otherwise, they'll lose all their revenues.
Okay, Andy Brown, thank you so much for your insights, the editor of the Sports Integrity Initiative.